Yes, welcome back, producer friends. Today I'm going over some serum patches from my new song Need Me. Just came out a week ago. There's some stuff that I think you guys are gonna like. Actually got a request from a couple of friends, couple of producer friends actually, asking about some of the sounds, so I figured I'd go ahead and do a little breakdown. Also, if the mic sounds weird, it's because I'm literally holding it in my hand because I broke my fucking mic stand. Let's see. It literally just fucking snapped. So, if the sound quality is a bit rough, a little bit of handling noises or something like that, I apologize, but I wasn't able to get to Guitar Center or anything in time, so you kind of just gotta do what you gotta do. But first, before we get into it, if you like nerdy content like this, you're a nerdy producer like me, I definitely suggest you hit that subscribe button. I am here for you. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the project file, and I will show you guys around a little bit. The sound that I'm going to be going over today is something like this. Alright, so I'm going to break this by each synth layer. I think there's maybe 5 main things going on, even though some of them are not doing too much. All right, so we're going to start out with this first vowel-y kind of bit crush synth. Let's open up the Serum project. So it looks like it's just 2 detuned saw waves with a triangle wave up an octave. This one is an octave down. And I have a bandpass filter that's making that vowel-y sound, really. That's what's doing the heavy lifting right here. I think without that... So it still sounds cool without it, but definitely that vowel-y sound is coming from that bandpass filter 100%. But the most interesting about this patch is, in my opinion, is the automation. So I have this LFO set up to the rate to a bar, so I can basically just mess with whatever parameter I want over the course of a bar. And in this case, I have these big steps routed to the drive, which is basically like the bit reduction rate of the downsample setting in the distortion unit in Serum. So for certain notes, I wanted different bit reduction settings to make them all sound different and make it sound like lively and like it's not just the same static sound over and over again. So you can see here. If I was to pull this down to 0, it'd just be the same sound over and over. So you can hear how changing this downsample rate really affects each note differently and makes it sound like it's actually somebody playing an instrument, right? Because every time you hit, strum a guitar or something, you're not going to strum it exactly the same way. So it's kind of just introducing like a bit of like a organic kind of feel, as much as I don't really want to use the word organic because it's all just computer music. It does generally make it seem a little bit more lively. After that, I just got a little bit of chorus, a little bit of hyperdimension and stuff, using a little tiny bit of a Combs filter, literally the tiniest bit. And I have an OTT on it just to brighten everything up super hard. And let's get into the post-processing. It looks like I have a EQ that is cutting out a lot of lows and then a lot of low mids. Everything below 500 basically, and I'm dipping probably around like 3K. Obviously, this is making a huge difference. But it will make sense here in a second why I have it EQ'd that way. After that, got this free amazing chorus that is replicating a Juno chorus on it, just a little bit of probably like 40% dry wet, saturating it a bit just to bring out some more harmonics, brightening it up some more with erosion at around 13K, a little bit more EQ here and there, and I'm pulling it pretty mono because I wanted this sound to be very mono, and then the this is the kind of the call, and I wanted the response to be super wide. So it's like a mono stereo kind of interplay. And you can see here, I have another Serum Patch that's layering what that first Serum Patch was doing. And you can see it's basically the same thing. But it has a filter that's cutting about everything above 500-ish. It's also getting modulated a little bit, so it's moving around. A little bit of EQ, and I'm having that one completely mono. So I wanted to have all the low mid energy in one synth and all of like the higher mids and really crispy highs in another synth. I find it makes it a lot easier to mix things that way. So if I have a little too much low mid in the synth, all I got to do is just run over here and maybe bring it down, bring this synth layer down by like 3 dB, and that usually seems to fix it. Rather than going in and EQing and adjusting the EQ and stuff, it's so much easier to just mess with levels when you have things set up like this. So that is it for that main sound. Let's take a listen to the response kind of sound. Right. So all this was a trombone and a trumpet section sample that I had lying around. I had them play the right notes. I reverbed the crap out of them, flattened it, and then reversed the reverb. Those layers are super, super simple. But the kind of cool thing that's happening here is in this particular layer. Kind of gives like a little fluttery effect. So all this is the exact same patch. This is also another thing I do all the time. I'll take the exact same patch and mess with it a little bit so it all kind of sounds coherent and kind of the same, like it's from the same universe. But obviously I'm going to mess with it a little bit so it's not just, you know, the same sound over and over again. But this is also a really fast way to work. Just copy the same Serum Patch multiple times. So whenever I have ideas flowing out, I can just quickly capitalize on those ideas. So the interesting thing about this one is I have an LFO routed to the drive of the downsample distortion unit again, and I have it set to 30-second notes, and I have it doing these weird step things. So when it's on 30-second notes, that's when you're going to get that really, really crazy flutter effect because it's going extremely fast, twice as fast as 16th notes. So it's still in time, but it gives like a more fluttery, more textural kind of effect in the high end. And you can see here, I'm just EQing the crap out of all the low end. Don't worry about this media file missing. It's like one tom sound or something. I'm not worried about it right now. And I got another layer on this. Now see here, I took the same Serum Patch, took this filter off, and instead I have a phaser with the rate pulled to 0. So the phaser's not going to actually move on its own. You have to move it with the depth knob. And so I have this LFO routed to the depth knob. So you hear it it gives it a little bit more of a vowel-y kind of sound when you have it routed like this. And a good bit of attack because I wanted it to feel like it was the kick was hitting and then this was slowly coming in. Like it was as if it was getting sidechained super hard or something. Oops, put that back. Let's see, everything else looks the same for processing. That filter at the end isn't doing anything, so let's hear what both of those layers sound like together. And then I have the trumpet and the trombones panned left and right, so it sounds kind of wide. And that's basically it. It came together really, really fast. Like I said, with that copying the Serum Patches over and over again. That's just a really fast way to work for me. And make everything sound very coherent. And you can hear it very well when I have it just soloed like this. The interplay between the first chord stack being mono and the response, the more fluttery kind of chords, being very stereo. So. Hopefully you guys can hear that. I think that adds a lot of depth and makes your mix wider. If everything in your mix is wide, nothing is wide. If something is super, super mono or very close to it, and then you have something wide, that wide thing actually feels wide because you're comparing it to mono, right? It's kind of like in maybe painting or photography or visual design, right? If everything is black, then there's no contrast, right? But if you have like a white line going through a canvas and everything else is black, it's going to make that white line pop like crazy because it's against the black background. I'm not a freaking graphic designer, so take that one with a grain of salt. But yeah, I really wanted to do a breakdown of this because I thought there were some interesting things in here, and I had a couple people ask me about it. So you know what, I figured I'd go ahead and just take you guys inside of a project file. Let me know if you guys like videos like this. I'd love to go through a bunch of random project files and kind of deconstruct the things that I've done. But for now, don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the things. And I'll be back next week with hopefully a mic stand. We'll see. Peace.